Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into an ancient text that, believe it or not, might be one of the most practical guides to self-mastery ever written, the Book of Proverbs. And look, this isn't about old, dusty rules. It's about the actual architecture of building a successful life.
So let me ask you something. What if your life, every single win, every setback, wasn't just random chance? What if the whole thing was being meticulously built, piece by piece, by an architect you can't even see? Well, the core idea in Proverbs is that this architect isn't some force out there in the universe. Nope, it's inside you. To be specific, it's your inner world, your thoughts, your attitudes, your intentions. That's literally the blueprint for the reality you walk around in every day. Okay, so how does that actually work? This isn't just some abstract philosophy. Proverbs lays out a really practical system that shows how our inner blueprint translates step by step into our outer life. First off, we need to get clear on what Proverbs means by wisdom. It's not about having a high IQ or memorizing a bunch of facts. Think of it more like a practical operating system for your life, an internal architecture that guides your small daily choices and, believe it or not, ends up shaping your entire future. This one line right here is the core principle in a nutshell. And it's not just pretty poetry, it's a formula. Who you are on the inside, what you genuinely think and believe in your heart, inevitably, and I mean inevitably, determines who you become on the outside. So if your thoughts are the actual building blocks of your reality, then it follows that your most important job is to be a security guard for your own mind. It's the source of every single one of those thoughts. And listen closely to the language here. When Proverbs says heart, it doesn't just mean the organ beating in your chest. It means your entire inner world, your mind, your will, your deepest intentions. It's saying that everything you experience, all the issues of life, flows directly from this inner source. And this is where it gets really cool, because this ancient wisdom lines up perfectly with modern neuroscience. Proverbs talks about how repeated thoughts carve out mental grooves, which is exactly what we now call neural pathways. These grooves, over time, become your automatic behaviors and beliefs. The takeaway is so simple but so profound. Whatever you feed with your attention grows. Your attention is your power. So this presents us with a really clear choice, two distinct paths. You can have an undisciplined mind, one that just lets any old thought wander in and set up camp. That leads to a reactive life, where you're just bouncing from one circumstance to the next. Or you can have a guarded, disciplined mind, which allows you to build an intentional life, a life where you are the one choosing the direction. Now, this brings us to a pretty radical idea about what freedom really is. Proverbs suggest that it's not about doing whatever you feel like doing in the moment. Instead, real freedom is something you have to build on a solid foundation of self-mastery. I mean, our culture today often screams that freedom is the absence of any and all restraint, just total indulgence. But Proverbs completely flips that on its head. It argues that true, lasting freedom is only possible through self-control. Without it, you're not actually free. You're just a slave to every impulse and craving that comes along. This metaphor is just so vivid, isn't it? A person with no inner discipline is like a city with its walls smashed down, completely vulnerable, exposed to total chaos, and totally unable to protect anything of value inside. So let's try to reframe discipline. It's not about punishment or repression. It's about protection. It's the wisdom to just pause for a second before you act and ask one simple, powerful question. What future is this choice creating for me? Okay, so what's the main tool that this inner architect uses to build your life? It's your habits. These are the quiet, often totally invisible forces that are constantly building your destiny in the background, whether you're paying attention to them or not. This quote is such a brilliant warning about how failure usually happens. It's almost never a single, huge, dramatic event. It's a slow leak. It's the result of all those small, seemingly harmless compromises that you repeat day after day after day. But here's the good news. This principle cuts both ways. Yeah, failure is cumulative, but so is success. Gradual decline comes from consistent neglect and impulsiveness, but gradual growth? That comes from what Proverbs calls diligence, which isn't about frantic, stressful work, but just steady, patient consistency. The takeaway here is absolutely crucial. Your habits are the real architects. They are working tirelessly in the background, laying the foundation of your future long, long before anyone, including you, ever sees the finished building.
But look, guarding your thoughts, building good habits, it's all pretty much impossible without one final, foundational piece. There's a gateway you have to walk through to access any of this wisdom, and that gateway is humility.
So why is pride so dangerous? Well, it's because wisdom requires learning, and pride, by its very nature, refuses to be corrected. It locks your mind in place. It makes you assume you already have all the answers, which, turns out, is the fastest path to a major fall.
And this is exactly why being teachable is a superpower. Humility is not weakness. It's the courage to align yourself with reality, to see things as they are. It's what opens the door to growth. The humble evolve. The proud are just doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. So when you boil it all down, the core message of Proverbs is this: the life you really want isn't something you go out and find. It's not something you chase. It's something you have to build, brick by brick, on the inside first. Your guarded thoughts, your disciplined desires, your consistent habits, those are your tools. Your inner world is the architect, and the only question left is, what are you building?